Now we'll have Victoria Huffman come up and give some visuals on the potential traffic impacts.
Yeah, there will be a lot. Aloha, everyone. My name is Victoria Huffman, and I'm a professional engineer. Specifically, I'm a licensed traffic engineer who has a great deal of experience reviewing development projects, their traffic studies, and also performing traffic signal timing. And just to let you know, there has been a traffic study performed for this project that was required by the HDOT, state highways. I heard about this through the grapevine, and I requested to see this traffic study. At first, I was denied this request, but after some more prodding, I was able to go up to their office in Kahului and take a look at this traffic study to see what Eclipse Development's traffic consultant says what will be the impacts. And they're not pretty from my professional opinion, and I'll give you more information. Could we have the next slide, John? I'm going to. This is the site plan. Sorry about that. For the proposed development project. This is only one portion of it. This is the retail shopping center portion, which is about 400,000 square feet. It's on the, let me first get you orientated here. North, this is Pi'ilani Highway right here. I'm going to use the old-fashioned technique of pointing, if that's okay with you. I'm not high-tech, sorry about that. And so this is Pi'ilani Highway, and this is north. Down is north. So this is going to be the new upcountry connector, and they're building their portion that's along their frontage. It's going to stub out way over there until the upcountry connector is ever completed. And on the north side down here is the Maui Outlet Center, which is going to be about 300,000 square feet. So we have a combined shopping center of about 700,000 square feet. And up there on the other corner is going to be the workforce housing, 250 units, condition of Wailea 670. So to give you an idea, I wanted to show this to you because I know most of you can't see it, but this is the intersection which is going to be very, very impacted by this project. One signalized access point, and even the developer's traffic study that he's provided to HDOT or state highways shows this intersection will fail. And by that, we traffic engineers evaluate intersections based on the delay, the overall delay at a signalized intersection, and we grade them levels of service A through F. Well, A, as you might imagine, is really good, little delay, and then as you go down the scale, E and F are considered unacceptable to us. Okay, so this will be at F. And this is acknowledged by the Eclipse Development's own traffic study. It's going to be at F. They're going to need to add many more lanes, and even with this increased lane configuration down here, it's going to still be at F. So the developer is proposing that when this whole shopping center is occupied 65%, he's going to have another traffic study done, and he has proposed mitigations which will bring this intersection, so he says, to a high level of service E. And when I mean high E, I mean right on the brink of failure. And he's doing some things that, to me, as a professional engineer, I don't deem kosher, like he's proposing an inbound one-way driveway to his development in a deceleration lane, which I do not consider safe, and I brought this up to the HDOT in a formal letter. And he has, what you can't see, it only shows one little right turn lane here. Well, he's proposing dual right turn lanes, and these are called free rights. So as a vehicle, as a motorist, you don't even stop, which is very unsafe for pedestrians. So there's certain things going on that, from my professional opinion, I would never allow these type of proposals, or I would not, bless them in any way. The other thing I wanted to point out is that he has this giant monstrosity of an intersection here, and then on his project site he has another proposed intersection. This is 600 feet away from this intersection. Very close, and keep in mind, without coordinating these two signals, and there has been no provision stipulated in the traffic study for coordinating, You could have queuing backing up into Pi'ilani Highway. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about. But the other thing I wanted to focus on tonight and more broadly is how this intersection will affect progression, or not progression, but capacity along Pi'ilani Highway. Let me point out something else too. In this traffic study done for state highways, they did not include the traffic from the affordable housing unit. So they also didn't include traffic from the Maui Research and Tech Park, whose DEIS is going to be released very shortly, I hear. And also Wailea 670, Makina Resorts, and Wailea Resorts. So when you add all this traffic up onto Pi'ilani, particularly at this intersection, it's not going to be pretty at all. It's not going to be pretty. The other thing I wanted to point out is one of the things that makes this intersection operate so poorly is we have about 25,000 ADT is what traffic engineers call average daily trips. Vehicle trips coming and going to this shopping center at this point. The industrial park that was originally proposed for this site back in 1994 was assessed for 4,820 trips. So that's less than a fifth of what this shopping center will generate and attract. This shopping center, because of its high demand, is going to need dual southbound lefts on Pi'ilani Highway and dual right lefts at this coming out eastbound, westbound here. Now the problem again with left turns is they steal green time for the through movement on Pi'ilani. Pi'ilani northbound and southbound, they need that green time. The capacity of Pi'ilani Highway will be dramatically affected by this signal in itself. Capacity is generally determined by the number of lanes, the approach lanes. You know, right now this portion is total of 4 lanes, 2 in each direction, and how much green time the signal at that location will provide. It's going to be very constrained at this location. John, could I have the next slide, please? Now this is a picture of Pi'ilani Highway showing different development projects that I'm sure most of you are familiar with. And also notice the red X's on this diagram. These are locations that are either going to be made larger, and when I say larger, I mean more approach lanes on one leg, or it's going to be a new intersection, a new signalized intersection, I should say. There are a lot of intersections along here, as you know, that are just stop controlled, but these are going to be new signalized intersections or larger intersections. Now what happens with this is the capacity of the Pi'ilani Highway will decrease with these improvements and these intersections going in here, especially ones like the mall, the shopping center, where it's pumping out so much traffic that it's going to rob green time from the north and southbound movements on Pi'ilani. So the bottom line, as we develop more and more and more, Pi'ilani Highway is going to get more and more stressed. Right now, in front of the project site, according to HDOT data, 2011 data, it has 34,000 ADT, average daily trips, on that segment. When you add in all this other traffic, it's going to be probably over capacity, okay? So this is going to make commuting from one end to the other very difficult, particularly in the area where this mall is. Keep in mind the effects that this will have on emergency vehicle response time. You know, even though there might be equipment on the traffic signals that turn those signals green in the event, you know, you see a strobe light, the siren. At this mall intersection, there's going to be so much queuing that there's going to be just a cluster of traffic that emergency vehicles may not be able to get through. It's going to reduce the amount of, you know, how quickly these vehicles can get to an emergency site. And I have written a letter to the mayor to this effect, which was recently posted on the Maui Weekly, I believe, and so you might want to go take a look at that one. But we have a lot more development projects coming in there, and every time you introduce a new development project that's pumping traffic out onto Pi'ilani, the green time is reduced, you have more signals, And I don't think at this point in time HDOT has any plans to coordinate the signals, which will become increasingly more important as you space them closer together and the capacity gets reduced and the volumes increase. So I just wanted to point those things out to you. Now, the other significant impact that the traffic study revealed was that at the intersection, and I don't know how many of you will be familiar with this intersection, the intersection near the Maui Lu Resort on South Kihei Road at Ka'onaulu Street, that is shown to be, with this project in place, operate at level of service E, okay? E, but here's the clincher. The traffic consultant, and this is typical practice, he assumed some other development projects. He added traffic in from these other development projects, but he also assumed there were improvements in place. So, for example, he assumed Maui Lu Resort traffic was added onto the network, but he also assumed that Maui Lu, which is conditioned, as I understand it and from reading the traffic study, is conditioned to signalize that intersection at South Kihei Road, Ka'onaulu Street, and at a southbound left turn pocket, which is tremendously important for keeping southbound vehicles from backing up as a vehicle's trying to make a southbound left turn. Well, my point, and I wrote this to the HDOT too, was what happens if Maui Lu never goes forward? In this project, the Kihei malls, the mega malls will have all that traffic onto a non-signalized point that has no added southbound left turn lane. So, assuming these improvements in place, I think it's being overly generous, and we would have more impacts if these improvements were not in place. So those are the two impacts that this traffic study revealed. Now, there are some other things that I disagreed with the methodology with this traffic study. They assumed that 75% of all the traffic coming to and from these mega malls, as I'll call them, were within the Kihei-Makina area, that only 25% of the traffic was outside the area. Now, if you ask any traffic engineer, see, you're laughing, a 700,000 square foot shopping center is considered a regional mall, a regional generator and attractor. And if you go on the Eclipse Development website, you see they are marketing this thing for all over, for tourists all over the island. And so I pointed this out to state highways too. So because of that, I think there's some inaccuracies in the study, and there's, so I just wanted to point that out to you. And there are some other safety concerns I have, which I don't know that I'll go into any detail, but I just wanted to bring this to your attention because I'm very much disappointed that the public in general wasn't allowed to see this traffic study and then comment on it as they would in a normal environmental review process.